In this video, I'm going to show you how to join your granny square or your squares together using the single crochet method. Coming up next. Hi, I'm Diette, and welcome to Turtle Creativity, where we make crafting and crocheting easy. Today, I'm excited to share with you a crochet tutorial that will teach you how to join your granny squares or your regular squares together using the single crochet method. Now for this tutorial, you're going to need yarn, of course. I will be using the last little bit of my Red Heart Super Saver in the color of purple. You'll also need a crochet hook. I am using the size letter I. You'll need a yarn needle and a pair of scissors. Well, I'm going to roll up my sleeves just a tad, and I'm ready to get crocheting now. So let's get started. We're going to be joining granny squares or your regular crochet squares together using the single crochet method. Now this single crochet method will give your project a raised type of finish, which is good if you want to have your project to have a 3D finish, and it's also a fairly easy way to join your crochet squares or granny squares. Also, I would like to mention that this pattern of granny square, if you would like to recreate this pattern, I do have a video. I'll link it right here, I guess, or somewhere over here. And I'll put it in the description below, a link to a video in which I will show you exactly step by step how to create this granny square look. And then this right here is just a regular classic granny square. So if you want to know how to just do a regular classic granny square, I'll list that in the description below as well. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get started, and I will show you how to connect our granny squares together. So I'm going to go ahead and take 2 granny squares. Now I'll be using 2 pink. And what you want to do is you want to be able to flip the granny squares or your squares to where your wrong side is facing each other, okay? And if there's not a wrong side or right side for your project, then this step wouldn't matter. Then what you want to do is do your best to align, let's flip it over, to align your project together so that your stitches align perfectly. Now, sometimes when you are crocheting your squares together or your granny squares together and you're creating your project, sometimes you're doing different designs of squares together and you're not able to line it up perfectly together. That is okay. Do your best to make sure that you use the same size square so that even though the pattern may not align perfectly together, you're still able to have the same size, and then you still can weave in your crochet hook and yarn together to create that wonderful single crochet look. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to be connecting these 2 pink together with my purple. So it's going to look something like that. I'm going to start off with creating a slip knot. And I'm just going to insert my hook in the corner of my project. Okay. And I'm going to yarn over and I'm going to pull through the corner. Okay. And once I've done that, I'm going to chain up 1. Okay. Now I'm just going to move my tail to the back. And now what I'm going to do, to the best of my ability, I'm going to go up under each one of my loops, trying to align them as perfectly as I can. And I'm going to go under each one of the loops, each one of these chain spaces, and I'm going to be doing a single crochet. So I'm going to be doing a single crochet. So I'm going to stick my crochet hook through my project, and I'm going through all 4 of those loops. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I'm going to yarn over and I'm going to pull through and I'm going to pull up. 1, 2 loops is on my hook. I'm going to yarn over and I'm going to do a regular single crochet just as normal. Okay, now I'm going to continue to do that all the way across my project. Insert your hook into your project, making sure that you're going up under all of your loops. Or if you're doing a square that you cannot necessarily align it together like this because the two designs are differently, you want to do your best to go up under both projects where you have both projects connected to your loop. I'm sorry, to your hook. Take your yarn, pull it through. 2 loops is on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, let's keep on going all the way down. Through each one of our spaces, find a space, pull up. There's my 2 loops, yarn over, and I pull through. Okay, and already the single crochet look is beginning to form. Okay, so I'm going to continue to go all the way down my project and I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so we're at the last corner of our row. So we're going to go ahead and put a single crochet in that corner. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to add on squares. So what you will do is you'll take your squares that you have to add, and for me, I'm going to use another pink one in this design that I did as well. Okay, so I'm going to put where the wrong side. Now this project, there is obviously a wrong side and this one is the correct side. So I'm going to put my wrong side together to the other wrong side, if that makes sense. So this is a good example where you have 2 squares or granny squares where the design doesn't necessarily line up perfectly. So as you can see, this design does not match this design, but because the squares are still the same size, I can still put my single crochet through the loops and still be able to connect these 2 squares together. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and show you how I'm going to join not only these 2 squares together, but I'm going to show you how to join these 2 squares with my project right here. So what I'll do is I've just created my corner. So I just put my single crochet in the corner, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go into the corner of my next 2 squares. With my yarn over, I'm going to pull up, yarn over, and I'm going to pull through 2. Okay, so now I've created a single crochet that now links these 2 squares to the 2 squares that I was already working on. I'm going to shift this down some and pull out a little bit more yarn. Okay, and now I'm going to continue on with my single crochets. Again, going up under the loops, yarn over, pull through, single crochet. And I'm doing my best again to still match up those loops so that I can pull my yarn, pull my hook through so that my yarn can come up and I can create my single crochet. And I'm going to continue to do that. So it doesn't matter if both squares look the same or they don't. As long as you have them that is basically the same size, this is definitely an easy way to join your squares or granny squares together. Okay, so continue going, and we're going to do this all the way down, putting single crochets into each one of these loops. Okay, All right, so I'm at the end, and I'm just going to go ahead and put a single crochet in the corner. Okay, and I'm going to pull up on my yarn, and I'm going to go ahead and cut my yarn. Now, of course, if you have more squares or granny squares to connect, you would just keep on going. And then sometimes you want to join as you go. So you may have a few that you've done and you want to connect those, and then you want to put what you connected aside and then come back. You absolutely can do that as well. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to connect the middle. So what we're going to do is I'm going to fold my project just like this, so you can see my stitches here and see my stitches there, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to, again, align my project so where my stitches or my design is matching. And for this side where it doesn't quite do that, I'm just going to align it the best way I can, okay? And then I'm going to take my yarn. We're going to create a slip knot. Okay? And I'm going to go into this corner. Okay, and I'm going to make one chain. All right, now I'm going to work single crochets all the way down and over top of this single crochet that we already done as well. So let's go ahead and work single crochets all the way down your work, and I'll meet you when we get just like right about here, so I can show you what to do when we get to this point, so we can crochet over top of it all the way down. So again, single crochets all the way down, making sure you put your hook under both pieces of your work. So now I'm going to insert my hook, and I'm going to yarn over, single crochet, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and single crochet right over that single crochet stitch that's already there, just like that. Easy peasy. And so just go ahead to the other side and single crochet again, moving over top of it and continuing on with your work, making sure you go up under all of the loops of both projects and continue on with your single crochet. We're at the corner. We're going to go ahead and put single crochet there, and I'm going to do one right there. Pull up your yarn, and let's open it up to show you what we have. Okay. All right. Now, if I was making a blanket, then I would continue on adding my squares however I wanted to add them, just to create whatever pattern that I wanted to create. If I wanted to do something like that, and just continue to crochet and add on my squares however I wanted to do that, putting my single crochets down my project and just continuing to add on. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I am just going to sew in the tails of this small sample piece. Let's go ahead and cut that off, and I'm just going to go ahead and sew in my tails now. our completed sample of how to join your granny square or squares together using the single crochet method. I'll see you in the next one, and subscribe for more.